Following up on the 2023 Devil's Bargain release of Bullet Man, for 2024, Devil's Bargain Toys, which is really the one-man show of Ed Hellman, followed up by giving us a villain for the Bullet Man to fight. This is Black Jet and the Sky Pirates. It was released at the show for about $32, and it came in a Ziploc baggie with just a plain cardboard flap stapled to the top of the bag. Now, if you haven't seen the Bullet Man action figure, I highly recommend it. It is made in conjunction with Fresh Monkey Fiction and Bill Murphy, using a lot of their bucks. The figures are extremely well made, very fun to play with, and come with a plethora of accessories. So let's go ahead and let's open this guy and see what we got. And here we have Black Jet outside of his packaging. As you can see, with the amount of items that are on the desk in front of me, you definitely get your money's worth out of one of these Devil's Bargains action figures. It comes with 12 interchangeable hands, and the figure right now is sporting the right trigger finger hand, which has a vertical hinge, and the left fist, which has a horizontal hinge. You'll also get 2 of these C-grip hands, which also have vertical hinges. You have these 2 bladed hands with vertical hinges. There's also 2 grasping hands with horizontal hinges, and of course the accompanying left trigger finger and right fist. Also, you get 2 of these whimsical gesturing hands that I love. This one is the thumbs up hand that was originally released with the Fresh Monkey Fiction Eagle Force Returns Mega line with their figure Maverick. If you know, you know. And you also get this pointing finger hand. And I don't know originally where it was released at, but I love its inclusion because, I mean, this, I can just see Black Jet gesturing to the Sky Pirates what their next target is going to be. That's going to give a lot of opportunity and color to the figure photography scene. And then we have this laser pistol, and he comes with 2. At least I'm going to call it a laser pistol. It kind of looks like a cross between a Buck Rogers ray gun and a 1930s German Luger. It has a very, very well done silver metallic paint job and this black handle. The detail is not necessarily intricate, but there is enough of it at this scale to convey what it is and do a very good job doing so. I really like these pistols. And then he also comes with this sword, which is looks like a cross between a rapier and perhaps a saber. And you'll see that the blade itself is a little bit on the flexible side, so when you get it out of the package, it may be a little warped. If it is, just apply some heat to it, and you should be able to straighten it out pretty quickly. It also has that very nice silver paint, but what I think I like most about it is this black handle. That black paint is very well done, and it's done thin enough so that it doesn't lose the detail in the wire wraps of the grip. And it also features a semi-basket hilt design, very similar to like a 17th or 18th century dueling saber. But what I think is my favorite accessory in the pack is this RPG. Now, it's done again in that silver paint. Again, it's not vac metal, but it does an exceptional job at being very, very shiny. And what I like best, I think, is right here, this tip, where it has the red and white accents that match and color coordinate with Black Jet's helmet. Very, very well done weapon. Also comes with what appears to be, or is at least inspired by, a Heckler & Koch MP5, done again in that brilliant silver paint job with the black handle and the black magazine along with a black foregrip. Very, very well done weapon. I really love the inclusion of these. It also has these silver binoculars, which, you know, again, the silver paint is just really outstanding. I love it, and it displays very, very well. It really pops off the shelf when you include it with these figures. Just very, very well done old school binoculars here. It also comes with these 2 flame accessories that are designed for this backpack. We'll go ahead and they plug into these holes that are at the bottom here. We can just plug those in. There we go. And you can see this backpack, again, very well done piece of equipment. It's got a matte black finish with these very intricate details on the wiring and internal components of the jetpack. It has the feeder tubes in here. The only thing I'll criticize is the length of this peg. The peg hole, which I'll display later, is a little bit too shallow for the length of this peg. So at some point, I'm probably going to trim this down so it fits a little more flush on his back. But I mean, the detail is just outstanding. You can see, again, we've repeated the red and white paint scheme, which, you know, mimics the helmet of Black Jet, just like his RPG did. And the fact that they did these silver vents on the front for the intakes, I mean, just a great attention to detail, really helps with that suspension of disbelief that this is just a 1/18 scale action figure. The silver paint, again, is done extremely well. Very, very well done figure. And these You can see these flame effects. They stay pretty well. It's very well done. All in all, very, very, very happy with the amount of accessories and the types that are included. He also comes with these 4 additional heads. Now these 3 here are the additional Sky Pirates. Then we also have a Black Jet unmasked figurehead. You can see that it's extremely well done. I love the fact that, they did this scarring effect on his left side, and they were careful to include the fact that that right eye would be blinded, so it's just a plain white pupil. The blonde hair is painted very, very well. Again, no slop on here. It's just very, very accurately painted. Really enjoy the details that they've included on some of these figures. And then, of course, you've got this guy, Pirate. I apologize, I don't remember all of their names off the top of my head, but I'll include it in the links below. You can see with the blue eyes, very, very well done, very crisp paint. Just very, very impressive work that's on these figures. I'm very, very pleased. Again, you got to remember, these are 1/18 scale action figures, and for somebody to take and get the detail on that little mustache right there and make it look that clean, that's impressive. It just is. And then we have this last one who has a much darker skin tone. But again, very well done, no paint slop. Although the blue on this one looks like it's a little bit darker. Well, yeah, I would say it's a little bit darker than the other two. And I'm very, very impressed with all of this figure's accessories in general. So let's take a look at the figure himself. And here we have Black Jet himself in all of his glory. The color combinations and the palette they used for this figure I really enjoy and appreciate. The pop of the bright red cape against the semi-gloss black bodysuit with the dark gray accents at the shoulders, gloves, belt, and boots. Exceptionally well done. The only criticism, if I had one, would be the yellow for the logo in the middle here. I really wish it could have been a brighter yellow. It seems a little more vibrant on camera than it actually is in real life, but it does a fine job. And the very awesome 1940s style artwork of that Black Jet in the middle for his logo is just exceptional. I love it. The cape itself is made out of a silky material that is thin but not translucent. It's not like the Serpentor cape from the G.I. Joe figures that look like it was made out of fairy dust. The cape uses a C-style clips that is sewn into the cape itself. Now, this was something that was originally pioneered by Kenner and their Superpowers line in the 1980s. And again, going back to the G.I. Joe capes, they used to cut holes in here, and the figure looked like more than wearing a cape. It was really wearing your mom's bathrobe, and it just was never a fan of that. But I always liked and appreciated the way that cape attached on those Superpowers figures. Now, the figure itself does have multiple points of articulation. It has the ball-jointed style head that's on a barbell. The head itself, even without the cape, doesn't look up very far. I mean, it can look down just fine, but up is really not its forte. It does have quite a bit of motion and mobility going side to side, obviously all the way around. It's very animated. You can get a lot of good poses out of this. The arms are ball jointed. They go up all the way past 90 degrees. And obviously they rotate completely 360 degrees. There is no mid-bicep swivel, which I appreciate. And there is the elbow joint, which goes a little bit past 90 and is on a hinge as well. And then the hands, depending on which ones you have installed, will either have the horizontal hinges, or in the case of the trigger fingers, a vertical hinge, which I think is great, especially for firearms. That's a really good trait and feature to have, so you can accurately pose them to look more realistic. The figure doesn't have that mid-torso split that a lot of the modern 3 3/4 inch action figures or 1/18 scale figures have. I feel that breaks up the sculpt and just takes away from the appearance of the overall figure. He does, however, have the ball joint very similar to the old school G.I. Joes at the waist. Although this one, instead of having a rubber band and O-ring in the middle of it, has a bar that goes up where it clips into the figure's torso, which I think is a much better move. Now, he does have this gray belt touched up with this silver paint around it that accents and shows off the silver on his bodysuit here and the silver mask, as well as the silver in his boots. Now, if you look at those boots, you'll see there's something interesting here, and there's only a few figures, and only Fresh Monkey Fiction is the only other company I've seen do this. They've included magnets in the boots. Now, I wouldn't say that they were strong enough to be able to hold your kid's artwork to the refrigerator, but on my desk at work, I have a couple of these guys, and it is enough to go ahead and hold them stabilized while you show off what kind of articulation he has in doing high kicks, it keeps him firmly planted onto the metal in my desk, which I really appreciate. Now, as you can see, the figure has ball jointed hips. He'll go up that far, go out almost a complete split for Jean-Claude Van Damme-like styling. And then he has double pinned hinged knees. And he also has a rotation and dorsiflexation on the ankles. He also includes rocker ankles, which again, going back to that kicking scenario, that is pretty awesome to actually get a figure that looks like he's using the edge of his foot to kick somebody in the face. I mean, that's just great. All in all, these figures, like I said, they're very hefty, very durable. They're excellent for posing. The only other criticism about the articulation that I would have is that this utilizes an older buck, so the molds didn't have the newer mid-thigh twist and the articulation, which you can get a little bit at the hip here, but unfortunately, because he has the double jointed knees, there's no putting him into a crossing his legs pose or anything like that, which, you know, might be a little thing for some people, but for me, I really like engaging my figures in world building, so I'd like them to be able to do stuff like that. Now, one thing that I didn't mention in the accessory section is the inclusion of several smaller pieces that I don't really necessarily consider accessories. I feel they're more parts of his outfit. If you look on the sides here, you can see that there are two small pins attached to the belt on either side. Now, what those are for is you have a left-sided holster and you have a right-handed holster. And that's why he comes with those two laser pistols. You can see that I've actually got this one already in the holster. And it fits in there real snugly. You don't have any issues keeping it in there. If you hold the figure upside down, it doesn't fall out. It's in there pretty good. But you also have other options as well. You have this very small, and I mean it is teeny tiny pouch that you can take, and I found the best way to do that is just put it on my thumb and give it a push. And then you have a pouch there if you just want to have him single weapon. And you also have a holster for the rapier here. And what that is it's very similar to what they used to use in the 16th century. They called them frogs. And the whole sword slides in there pretty well. And it sits kind of like on the back, very similar to the Iron Grenadiers of the G.I. Joe Real American Hero line in the 80s. And if you put that on like this, that is a pretty well done action figure. So once again, this is Black Jet, and he gets his name Black Jet because obviously he flies like a jet. Now, unfortunately, you can't keep the cape on him for this, but if you look, it plugs into the hole in the back there, and he looks pretty damn cool. I can appreciate what Ed has done with this action figure. This is a very, very cool. Again, this is one of Ed's original creations as a foil to the Bullet Man. And I really love the work and the attention to detail that Ed played for these figures. The color combinations and the creativity he's displayed creating this character is just really, really good. I really appreciate the effort put into this figure. Now, going back to what I was saying earlier, you can see that backpack is pretty far away from the back, you know. It's not, and it's in there as far as it's going to go for sure. So again, at some point, I'm probably going to trim off just a little bit of the black peg here so that it'll fit a little more flush into his back. But all in all, this is just a really, really great figure. Even with the small criticisms and critiques that I've had with it, I really appreciate and love this figure, and it's a great addition to my collection. And soon I'll be adding him into my small world. This has been Zaymot. I thank you for your attention and your time. You have a great day, and remember, play with your toys.